新しい英語が生まれました。Hi everyone, it's Scott here from That's English School. この数年間で whole nother を使っている方がものすごく増えてきました。ネイティブスピーカー同士でね。初めて聞いたときに、あれ、この人全然間違ってるぞとバカにしました。ちょっとだけ。でもね、気づいたら普通の英語になってしまいました。日本語もそういうところもありますよね。例えば、この間友達が、これって美味しくなくない?と言いました。もう頭が混乱してしまいまして、普通の日本語だよと軽く言われました。whole nother、その現象的なところと似てますよね。現象とは言わないかもしれませんが、そんな感じですね。スペルに関してはですね、another の前にアポストロフィーを使っている人もいますし、使ってない人もいます。どちらでも、大丈夫みたいですね。どちらかといえばアメリカ英語によく聞きますね。でもいずれ世界中の英語になるでしょう。イギリス英語を含めてですね。So let's take your English to a whole nother level and I'll show you how it's used. How did this word come about? If we were to say it properly in more standard English, the way I'm used to, we would say it like this. That's a whole other story. Or, that's another story. But somehow the words other and another have joined together to produce another. A whole nother story. It's not normally used just on its own. It's more popularly used with the word whole. It's funny how language evolves, don't you think? A few years ago, I would have laughed at this new expression. It's grammatically incorrect. It sounds uneducated at first, but after you hear it a couple of times, it becomes, well, normal. Languages are constantly changing. It is what it is. Let's just deal with it. I'm going to teach you 3 popular ways to use it. The most popular way to use whole nother is with the word level. Whole nother level. Sound kind of funny? When you want to say that the thing is the best one ever, the worst one ever, like nothing you've ever seen before, completely different from anything else. It can be used in loads of different ways, like talking about food. The new burger at Moss Burger is on a whole nother level. So that means it's fantastic. How about music? Post Malone's voice is on a whole nother level. He doesn't look like it, but he's got the voice of an angel. And the trains too. The train systems in Japan are on a whole nother level. They're always on time, they're clean, almost perfect. You can also use it in a negative way. The mass shooting in Texas was on a whole nother level. We'd never seen anything like it before. Let's take a look at some tweets. The first one is a guy comparing his Dairy Queen in Ohio to the ones in Texas. In case you don't know, Dairy Queen is a fast food chain like McDonald's. Growing up in Ohio, I thought I knew Dairy Queen. I was wrong. Texas Dairy Queen is a whole nother level. This thing here, a grilled beef patty, lettuce, jalapeno ranch, crispy jalitos, and spicy pepper jack cheese, is ridiculously hot and easily the best fast food burger I've ever had. The next one is talking about a really cool jacket. Holy crap balls, y'all! Look at that jacket. Something something is at a whole nother level, y'all. Yes, That's 2 y'alls in one tweet. That jacket is that rad. The last one is a man talking about how proud he is to be a union member. Walking the line at Amazon. Especially moved to see old friends, former students, current something something. I've always been a proud union member, but the strike has raised that to a whole nother level. The community of writers is an amazing thing. I just love your washrooms here in Japan. What are they called again? Washlets, yeah. Hey, Barbara Jane, get over here. I'm talking about them, washlets. They feel so good. They take going to the bathroom to a whole nother level. Oh, I already decided to get some for my home back in the US of A. Oh, a whole nother level. A whole nother level, I tell ya. My tush ain't ever been so clean. Whew. When you're talking about two things or situations that you can't even begin to compare, we can use whole nother story. It's like, this is this, but that is that. The two situations or stories are very different, like chalk and cheese, or as you may say in Japan, like the moon and a turtle. Let's talk about exercise. Joining a gym is one thing, but working out is a whole nother story. Maybe you've been there, you join a gym, but actually go into it, it's a whole nother story. Fancy some sushi? Eating sushi is great, but making it is a whole nother story. Those sushi chefs, they train for years and years. What about living in Japan? Well, vacationing in Japan is fun, but living here is a whole nother story. Okay, time for some tweets. This tweet is about the difference between talking about religion and actually being religious. It's easy to talk about spirituality. It's a whole nother story to actually do the inner work and give yourself to the arduous process of awakening. The truth might be simple, but there's 1,000 veils and seeing through them is so hard. No wishful thinking changes that. Here, they're comparing being indicted and actually being convicted for a crime. You can indict a ham sandwich. Conviction is a whole nother story. And he should run for office. He's not going to quit. Donald Trump is the only person standing up for we, the people. Someone tweeted about getting into a gay bar versus being hit on by one of the customers. As far as I'm aware, gay bars accept entry and service to everyone. Now, if the men in a gay bar don't want to date you, that's a whole nother story. I arrested a young guy the other day for being in possession of stolen property. 200 donuts had been stolen from a local bakery, and he was caught on CCTV and everything. So anyway, he's sitting in front of the bakery with the 200 donuts in the back seat, in broad daylight. So I goes up to him, knock, knock, knock on the old window. I says, "Listen, son, you're nicked." So he gets out the car and he says, "Okay, officer, it's fair game." So before I take him back to the police station, do you know what he says to me? "Officer, do you want to buy some donuts? They only last a couple of days." Well, whether I bought some, well, that's a whole nother story. I do like donuts though. A whole nother ball game. We're not actually talking about baseball here. We're using ball game to mean situation. Let's take two sports that use balls. Football and basketball. They are very different. It's a whole nother ball game. I got a new Apple Watch recently. Fitbits are nice, but the Apple Watch is a whole nother ball game. You can't even compare them. How about language learning styles? Not using Japanese in your English class is a whole nother ball game. I think everybody who takes an English class should try their best to use English at all times. Are you a fan of pizza? Costco pizzas are okay, but the ones in Italy are a whole nother ball game. Nah, it's like a completely different food. Some people use ball of wax instead of bowl game. That's a whole nother ball of wax. Here are some real life tweets. This one talks about access to medical aid. Medical aid for one and medical aid for a family is a whole nother ball game. This tweet talks about wet aging and dry aging of meat. Wet aging. The best way to easily tenderize your meat is wet aging. Dry aging is a whole nother ball of wax. Seal steaks in a food saver bag. You do have a food saver, right? Store in a fridge for 7 to 10 days. Can also freeze steaks this way up to a year. This person tweets about losing baby socks in the laundry. If you think it's hard keeping track of your socks when it's laundry time, baby socks are a whole nother ball game. Is there a portal in the dryer? Is baby trolling us? Oh, no one knows. Irashai, irashai. We've got these new cash registers, self-checkouts. Oh yes, it's a whole nother ball game these days. Yes, gone are the days when you have to make a line to be served by a human. Yes, you'd think it would make our job easier, but no, no, no. We've never been so busy. Because you customers push the wrong buttons or you can't scan your barcode properly. Oh yes, it's a whole nother ball game in more ways than one. It's homework time. Okay, you ready for a wee bit of homework? I'm going to give you a Japanese sentence today and I want you to change it into some beautiful English and use the language that you learned from this video. Okay, here goes. 大谷翔平選手は次元が違いすぎる. Yep, that's pretty true. Okay, so put your answer down in the comments and I'll check it as soon as I can. Best of luck! Do you want to watch one of the most popular videos on my channel? Watch this one here. It talks about the differences between I like to read and I like reading. I'll see you over there. Let's go!